Okay, guys, lot to do today. Um, what are we going to be talking about? Okay, I guess first thing we'll be talking about will be the death of that teenager, Henry Nowak, who met his end, didn't he, at the hands of a Sikh man armed with a ceremonial dagger. I think they call him a kirpan, yeah. Uh, First, I'll show you a short video that was put out by Great Societal Takeback, GST for short. Great guy, great activist for Restore Britain. A video it's well worth watching, so we're going to go look at that first. There'll be a link to the video and the channel in the description. Seriously, GST, he does produce some fantastic work, and if you're not subscribed, then I urge you to go over and subscribe right after you've watched this video. After we've watched GST's video, I'm going to show you something, a few articles that I wrote many years ago warning about this kind of attack being carried out by members of the Sikh community. And after that, I'll show you something I wrote about the Hindus. We'll be talking about Shambho, the sacred cow. Okay, let's roll it. Let's go see what GST said. Okay, it starts off with a screenshot. I'll read it out, guys, because it only flashes up for a second, then I'll roll the tape. Title of the video is Justice for Henry Nowak. Where is the footage? Why are they hiding it? Great video, GST. Break-in. British police are hiding Henry Nowak's final Snapchat and police body cam footage. 18-year-old Henry Nowak was stabbed to death in Southampton. His snapshot videos captured the attacker carrying a 21-centimetre blade. 21 centimetres is just over 8 inches. It's a big blade. And saying, "I am a bad man," shown in court. Body cam footage captured the dying teen handcuffed by police pleading, "I've been stabbed, I'm dying, I can't breathe." He collapsed and bled out in cuffs. Yet the full raw footage remains withheld from the public despite outrage and petitions. Why hide a victim's final moments or if there's nothing to hide? Release the Snapchat and body cam footage now. Justice for Henry demands transparency. We do want justice for Henry, and we do want full transparency. And we mustn't let this story be shoved down the memory hole by the police or the establishment. Okay, let's see what GST has to say.
So there's a lot of people following this Henry Nowak trial with this Digwar guy who stabbed him. And one thing I think people really need to wake up and smell the coffee. So there is Snapchat footage and body cam footage of this incident, and it's been hidden. And if you look on Google, it says this. That's the definition of it. So the only way that they would, we all know it, but that's the definition of it. So the only way that they would withhold body cam footage or withhold any kind of information is if it protects witnesses or basically goes against the integrity of the investigation. But, however, the story that we're getting is that he approached the man really aggressively, tried to pull his turban off, tried to attack him, said he was going to kill him, etc., etc. The other guy turned around and said he was afraid that Henry was going to use his kirpan against him. So, in all honesty, with the tensions that are going around behind closed doors in this case, if that was what would happen, if that's what happened, should I say, 100% the police would release the footage. And for anybody who tells you, like, oh, well, they can't tamper with the investigation, think about this. Because if you remember, they literally released that footage before anybody was even in the know-how that it happened. And when they did initially release the footage, they made it look like the police were the bad guys and were the bad people in question. So, And in my opinion, unless the police release the video footage soon, all it's going to say is basically everything that this Digwar guy said was a pile of shit, and Henry Nowak was the innocent bystander, and they don't want to release it because it's going to cause uproar. That's the only conclusion that you can come from, because why else would it be? And it also brings to the conclusion that the judiciary, the jury system, and the police do not give a fuck for Indigenous people. That's not the individual police officers. That's not, individuals within systems. That is the system overall and the people that are in charge of it. They do not care for you. You need to be asking questions. You need to understand you are in a country with this full of white guilt and liberal-minded people that literally will put their jobs on the line to virtue signal. And it's a dangerous, dangerous world that we live in. And if we get Restore Britain in, we need to make sure that some policies are put behind this. So this is all just stamped out. People genuinely need to go to jail for this. People need to be deported for this. People need to literally face crimes of treason against this. If this is that hard done by and if that deep seated, there needs to be some serious time served by these people, because we are on the verge of literally revolting. We are on the verge of just completely rioting on a mass level. That's how these tensions are. So in the interests of the public, the police, the judges and the court systems and even the MPs should be calling for the release of this footage, because if it is what it said it is, then it needs to be told. It was okay for Manchester. Why is it not okay for this one? Let me know what you think. Take care, everybody.
Okay, that was GST's take on it. Pause, Paul. Okay, guys, I tell you where we're going now. We are going to go over to look at a few articles I wrote about ceremonial daggers and kirpans way back in time. Stand by. Pause, Paul. Here we are, guys, over on the home of the Green Arrow, the first blog I ever created in 2006. And what was I writing about in August 2007? Well, first of all, Sikhs were angry over the turban plan. Right. Images of Sikh guy with what is ceremonial kirpan. It's okay, miss, I only wear it for show. I would never use it. I'll read this out very, very fast. What is it with these people who wrap towels around their heads even when their hair is dry that they feel they deserve to be exempt from the laws of the lands that they have been allowed to settle in and colonize? We were telling you this in 2007. Sikhs in both America and in our country are thrown a strop because security staff at airports have the right to inspect turbans so they can be checked for non-metallic weapons. Do they not understand that it would be easy for one of the cult from, say, Pakistan to disguise himself as a Sikh border plane? Wouldn't even have to. However, Sikh groups have responded to the new measures by describing them as outrageous and discriminatory. Same old story, same old line and lies. Right. Goes on a little bit there, talking about Islam. Then I get to this. They can already carry the kirpan, a ceremonial dagger, in their day-to-day life, and their children even wear them to school as part of their culture. And there's a link there to the BBC where it details the story. Over in Canada, some students consider it unfair that Gurbaj Singh may wear his kirpan to school. It is incumbent on the schools to discharge their obligation to install their students this value that is at the very foundation of our democracy. I would have thought letting a 12-year-old into school with a dagger would be the last anyone would want, but there you go. The school daggers are usually 3 inches in length. Not a lot, I know, but someone once wrote that 3 inches was enough to kill a king. Certainly 3 inches is enough to kill a fellow people. But it's a cultural thing, you see. Well, You can pause and read the rest of that. So that was when I first started writing about it. And on 9th of June 2007 I wrote, the law of our land states that people can go to prison for 4 years will be fined if they are carrying an offensive weapon such as a knife in public without good reason. Yet when Tarsum Singh was stopped and refused entry to a passport office for carrying a 3-inch ceremonial kirpan, he was, as is usual with these people, offended and humiliated. Okay, I'll scroll down, you can read all the story there. So we were talking about these ceremonial daggers a long time ago. He said I felt like they were talking down to me and didn't look at me as a British citizen even though I was born here. It made me feel very small and it was really disheartening. Yeah. However, in another shambles-type cave-in by our cowardly masters who only have the courage to enforce the law against the true British people of the islands, a Home Office spokesman said, Sikh customers who do not feel able to follow the procedure outlined will be able to conduct their business at a specially designated window, thus ensuring the customer needs are met. Funny, isn't it, that Sikh men can carry around a dagger for ceremonial purposes, but our women and girls can't even carry around pepper spray to defend themselves against attacks. Many of those attacks carried out by people, oh, you know what I mean. Get a grip. And I go on with a bit of a sarcastic article. But here's the bit I wanted to get you to. Who was Shambo? Well, I'll tell you who Shambo was now. The sacred bull called Shambo. Yeah. It was during, there was a big TB scare amongst cattle. And there was a rather cute cow called Shambo. And the Hindus had taken an attachment to it. I'd written articles then about the increase of TB in Wales. We'd almost wiped out TB in this country. And then when the immigrants started to move in, the settlers, our replacers, TB has been increasing every year since. And yet we'd almost stamped it out. And the fact that Shambo was sacred TB carrying bull was under sentence of death. And there was a huge fuss about Shambo. And the Hindus said if we were to permit the killing of Shambo, it would be an appalling desecration of life, the sanctity of our temples and Hinduism as a whole. If officials officially decide to desecrate the Hindu religion and try to kill Shambo, we exhort all those who support the temple to come to our assistance. I said that they caved in over Shambo. Shambo was spared. Don't know what happened to Shambo in the end. Didn't wind up as corned beef anyhow. Local farmers were saying that the sacred bull had to be slaughtered in order to prevent the spread of TB. Didn't work, yeah. Public health comes second to the wishes of the Hindus. Just another example of how multiculturalism enriches our country with threats of either violence or the spread of a killer disease. Yeah. All right. Shambo last weekend. Yeah. Yeah, well, they did cave in. The cute killer cow. So as you can see, guys, some of us were warning about the carrying of the kirpan way back as far as 2007. And we're talking, even then, talking about how we make exemptions for people who perhaps even shouldn't even be in our country. Amongst those rituals, if you like, is halal meat. We allow that, a barbaric practice, and also kosher meat, which is equally as barbaric. I don't know why they just don't use the same name. Yeah, just to accommodate foreign cultures that shouldn't even be in our country. Anyhow, guys, I'll leave you with the last look at Shambo. The a sacred cow. You've been listening to Paul Morris, The Green Arrow. See you on the next one. Now go on over to GST, like and subscribe to his channel. Catch you on the next one.